Buddycast. No, don't be naughty, go meet a buddy here on Buddycast.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the founder and host of Buddycast, Nick Sorensen.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of everybody's favorite show, Buddycast. I'm your host, Nick Sorensen. Thank you for joining us tonight. We got a very special episode. You may want to grab some tissues because we might get emotional just to get that little PSA out there, you know. But that's what this Buddycast is about. I want it to be real. I want it to be amazing. I want it to be helpful because I have a feeling this episode is going to help a lot of people tonight, whether it be live on air or whether they catch the replay and find out this is how this organization is going to help me. Okay. But before we get into any of that, I got to introduce my guest, my very special guest. She's Emma's mom. She runs a wonderful, amazing organization that has really helped me and my wife lately. She is Tracy Dailey from Emma's Footprints. How you doing, Tracy?
Hi, Nick. This is an honor to be here for the second time.
Hey, we're just as honored to have you back. I'm truly thankful for everything you guys have done for us lately. I can't, I'm gonna address the elephant in the room lately. A lot of our buddies know this. A lot of buddies maybe don't. Maybe this is the first time they're gonna hear it, but you've been a huge help to us because back in April, the first lady, as we call her on Buddycast, and I were expecting, but unfortunately, we lost our little buddy. We lost him. We had to say goodbye to him, and now we're here. But if it hadn't been, the one saying that I absolutely love in life, and I will carry this saying with me to my grave, is that friendship is born when one friend says to another, "You too?" I thought I was the only one. And that's what your organization has showed us. You've showed us we're not alone. We're not taking this journey alone. You guys are right here next to us, holding our hands and guiding us through anything we need. And that's what I'm hoping our buddies learn tonight.
Yeah, that's really powerful. It seems very small. And it seems easy or like duh, but it is very, that's a great way to sum that up. That's what we do.
Mm-hmm. So give us an update. What's been going on with Emma's?
Oh gosh. So this year on May 30th, we celebrated the 10th year of our organization. So I think that's a really big deal. Starting something from nothing 10 years ago and how it's grown and thrived. And now we're celebrating the organization being double digits. So that, I think that's our biggest kind of highlight of this year. We've helped 241 families so far this year, just in 2024. We've spent over $165,000 in our mission expenses, and we hold, from fundraisers to couples retreats, a whole gamut of things. And the year's only half over.
Yeah, definitely. I was just surprised with how much money you guys have spent. That, I'm like, this early into the game, or just how many families you've impacted so far. Because I can tell you, we're one of those families, and if it wasn't for you, number one, Silas would still be trapped somewhere in Pittsburgh in limbo, trying to figure out where to go, where do we go from here? And we wouldn't have, everything you've done for us has kind of like been a trail for us. It's been like, because you got us set up with, some counseling services to help with the grief. We found out there's a support group that you guys run. Because of that support group, we've made amazing buddies who have learned, all this stuff. You informed me of a podcast that you guys sponsor, and just to sit at my desk at work and just tune in whenever there's like a dull moment at work, and just tune in and hear that there are people out there that are going to the bone what I'm going through now. Like, how do they handle Father's Day? What do they do with like relatives who maybe didn't get the news exactly yet or something like that, So,
and I think it's interesting. When was our first time we've done this? Do you remember what month or how long ago that was?
I think it was back in 2021 or 2022. Something like that. Yeah.
But, even then you saw, or I'm assuming you saw our organization. You were like, wow, they're doing great things. Let's have them on Buddycast. But you
Absolutely.
didn't really get it, because why would you?
Exactly.
But when you walk through it, I think it, like you're saying, it means a little bit more. And when I talk about our mission and what we do, it's not just words. We're like, wow, that's really great. They do that. It's like, wow, they really are sitting with me in this dark moment. They really have gone before me. They really care about my wife and I, and they care about Silas. It's not, this cool club.
Yeah. You're there for us on the worst days on the worst day of somebody's life.
Yeah.
Doing exactly what you say you do. You're not just one of those organizations. Oh yeah, we can help with this or that, or we can support you here or there. You actually go and do what you say, which is what I admire about you guys. So,
thank you. That means
for our buddies who maybe aren't familiar, you touched on it in the first episode, but like we said, it's kind of been a while. Tell us about some of the services you can offer.
So our mission is to provide financial assistance, compassionate guidance, and emotional support to families that experience a pregnancy or infant loss. So when I say pregnancy, that's anywhere from, the minute you find out you're pregnant up into if the baby is 12 months old. We will pay for funerals or cremations, headstones or urns, counseling, we do couples retreats, care packages. So that's what our mission expenses go to. And then we love doing that. And that's a really big part of our mission. But we also say we will walk beside you through your whole grief journey, because it's a journey. And our vision is to live in a world where no one walks through grief alone.
Most
so that's what we do.
Mm-hmm. What I really love about your organization is it's not just geared towards, it's not just geared towards like certain people, like it's not just mothers that you're helping. It's the whole family. It's fathers like me who, I know for a fact there's a level of loss that I'm never going to meet Jess at, but it's still a loss to me. It's still part of me. Like it's still everything, that I have to do with it. And you guys were there, Nick, here's what we can offer you, rather than just, oh, here's how we're going to take care of your wife. Don't worry about it. It's here's what we're going to do for you. There's tell us about some things you have for grieving fathers.
So we encourage couples to come to our support group, our monthly support group, the second Thursday of every month in our office. We also have a virtual option. Our counselor that I mentioned, we pay for sessions for. She does couples grief coaching. Because like you just said, even though maybe the mom carried the baby, you're the dad, you're Silas's dad, and that loss, men and women grieve differently, but it's a loss and you have to learn how to grieve your own ways. You mentioned before, we have a Guys in Grief podcast that we sponsor by 3 guys that everyone should check that out. Go to where you get podcasts and look up the Guys in Grief podcast, and just their point of view and their guests they have, they're real. They put it out there. They talk about, how their dads and what that's looked like. And then we've also kind of collaborated with this, they're called the Sad Dads Club out of Maine. And they hold, I think it's monthly or maybe weekly Zoom like chats. So we push our dads, these are dads that are doing these things. Technology is phenomenal. So you can listen to a podcast, you can jump on with the Sad Dads Club. And then if you're here local to Erie, just dads offering each other their numbers to get together. But as you can see, you've been to one support group, and we have a lot of couples that come to the support group. And so it's really cool watching kind of the couples connect, and then maybe some of the moms connect in a different level, and then some of the dads do. And so we try to, everyone is built differently. Some people like the support group aspect, some that doesn't work for them. So we try to do the individual thing, or whether it's a podcast or, a Zoom call. So we're here to help and navigate that however we can.
And that's really one thing. Me and Jess went to the support group the first, our first time last month, and that's what I loved. Like, there were families there that knew to the bone what we were going through. There were dads that I could just chat with on the side while Jess was off making friends. I'll never forget the one thing. Your guys' motto. I'll never forget the motto of "Welcome to the club. Sorry you had to join."
Sorry I had to meet you. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, but it was
So glad you're here.
yeah, it was powerful that we were there, because I honestly feel like if we had just been, sticking at home all the time and just, kind of in our own thought, you kind of stew in your own thoughts after that. And then it becomes sad. Like, it can be dangerous at times. It can be sad. It could be this, but when you're out in a community that knows, again, what's going on, they know, here's, you're at this stage. I've been here. Here's what helped me. That's another thing that I really liked. A lot of programs that you have, you can learn things off of. Like, I learned from Guys in Grief, the podcast. I learned that they have like a mentor program with dads that have gone through losses, and you can pick the dad to talk to. Like, you can pick the guy to talk to. So it's not just, oh, we're just going to give you, a random Joe who, we think, oh, they need someone else to talk to. Like, you can go on the line and say, hey, I want to request John Smith. And,
Right.
Because here's John Smith's bio. John Smith had, a kid almost make it, and then something random happened that was out of their control, just like you.
Right. It's like online dating for grief.
Pretty much, without all the scariness behind it, like if this person's legit or not.
It's scary in a whole different way, but
yeah,
I love it. And they call them the Dadvocates, and I love that name.
And they really are advocates. They really are dead. I got connected with somebody, and just what I love, it's not something that like they force. Like, it's not something like, hey, I'm going to check on you every single week. You better answer. Da, da, da. It's just whenever I need him, he's there.
Yep.
Whenever I just need someone to talk to, whenever, like, I texted him on Father's Day, I'm like, how'd you handle your first Father's Day after the last? And he said it was, he was real with me. He's like, it's tough. It's going to be a painful day. It's going to be a day where, you're going to have moments. She said, take a moment and just don't push down the grief, or don't, like put it to the side or anything. Let it happen. Let it be you. It's your loss. It's part of your loss. It's part of your healing process. Just let it be. Do what you have to do. So.
Yeah. It seems like us grieving parents, we kind of need permission from somebody else to grieve. Mm-hmm. And so, however you find that, whether it's a dadvocate, support group, with our counselor, all of the things, I say, try all of the things. What do you have to lose? Mm-hmm. And you find out what's for you, but you get that permission in different ways. And it's what helps you keep going.
Exactly. And just even like we said, the facts that, like, going back to the support group, it's just finding out that there are parents there who, maybe lost their child 5 years ago, but they still feel like it happened yesterday. They still feel like, this happened a year ago, but to us, it's still fresh. Like, there's still things we're going along. It helps you. It shows you that, unfortunately, grieving never ends.
Right.
But fortunately, people know, you're not alone. As much as it never ends, you're still there.
It's like the both and, like you just said, like, this is a lifetime thing, but hopefully there's hope when you meet those families that have gone through it, leaned into their grief, learned the tools, and they'll tell you, I will tell you, I will be Emma's mom until I die. I'm not going to hit a finish line. But there's hope for that healing. And so it's cool to meet people like that.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Can you give us like a glory story, like a time that your services really impacted somebody, really made a difference?
So that's interesting. I have a lot of them, but one kind of sticks out. Yesterday, actually, I took a phone call, and the mom just lost her 39-week-old baby to a placental abruption 3 weeks ago, I want to say. And just, being in that space with somebody that is so raw, to me, it's such an honor and a gift to be invited into that space. And so I was sharing with her our resources and services of, hey, we can help you pay for a headstone when you're ready for that. And here's the contact. And, here's our counselor, Pam. We help to pay for sessions. Here's her email. So I was explaining to her kind of what the process was. And she stopped me. She's like, I don't mean to, kind of change the subject, but you just have this piece about you. Like, have you experienced a loss? She has no idea who I am. I'm like, yeah, actually, I'm Emma's mom. And I'm, this is why this organization exists. And she just kind of broke down crying that Emma's mom would be talking to her. And just the hope that I provided for her, that's what she said. 3 weeks after her full-term, horrific, tragic loss, the fact that I was answering the phone, taking the time to talk to her, explaining our resources and we had, we paid for the funeral also. So we did that in like the first week after her loss. And I don't know, it made me tear up. I'm like, this is why I do this. This is my why, to be able to reach out to that mom, even though it's been 17 years for me. This mom is 3 weeks into her grief journey. And that just meant so much to her, that Emma's mom, and it's always weird that she's like, you're famous. I'm like, no, I'm not, but maybe Emma is. But so it's weird to put me in that position. But I just feel like I wish I would have had that after Emma died. I wish I could have been on the phone with somebody that had been in my shoes, that could have reached out and grabbed me and pointed me in any kind of direction or gave me any kind of anything. I was desperate for that. And I didn't get that. So I just think stories like that will always just make me really emotional. And to me, that those are glorious stories. And this is why we do that. It's great that we got to pay for the funeral. I love that we can do that for families. I love that we can pay for the counseling and the headstones, but just connecting with families, and not all, we don't connect with families in that moment all the time. There's different points of connection, but specifically stories like that, where it is those first hours or weeks, and just the hope that she walked away with that from that phone call with, I think that is just really cool.
Exactly. And I don't know who that mother is, but I hope we see her around. I hope we see her at a support group. I hope that, if there's ever a time that, hey, you feel like, hey, they need some, like they just need someone to talk to or something, please pass along our number, information. We'd love to chat with them. We'd love to. We're still early in our grief process, but we're, like we keep saying this whole episode, it's building that community. It's building the fact that we're not walking this journey alone. We're not we're not taking our footsteps alone.
Right. Yeah, that's so cool. I see what you did there.
So, hey, speaking of footsteps, you mentioned, like, you guys got, you do some events, you do some fundraisers and stuff. One of which is a memorial walk. Can you tell us about that?
I would love to. So this will be our 9th annual memorial walk this year. We have a couple different locations that we host our walks at because we're growing so fast. So our first walk this year will be held in North Park in north of Pittsburgh. September, oh my gosh, now I'm blanking on the date. I think September 8th. Then we're hosting a virtual walk the 12th through the 15th. We're encouraging our families from all over the country to kind of walk wherever, if they live in a neighborhood, down the street, get their family and friends together and do our virtual walk. And then we have one right here in Erie at Penn State Barron, Sunday, September 22nd. And then the weekend after, we will be heading to Melbourne, Florida for our 4th and final walk.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to tell you something. I think this is going to really surprise you. I think this is going to be really impacting to you. When did you say the Erie Walk was again?
September 22nd. Did I get that date right?
Silas's due date was September 21st.
No. Wow. Oh my gosh. I did not know that.
Mm-hmm. which is why I'm announcing it right here on Buddycast that we are going to be participating. We've got some of our troops. Um, we're going to be participating. We are going to be Team Silas. If you buddies are out there from the Erie area and you want to be on Team Silas, please send me a message. We'd love to have you. If you can't be with us physically, you heard it from Tracy herself. There's going to be a virtual walk. We would love for you to be part of Team Silas's memory and just do this walk with us. Walk with us, just like we've been saying this whole episode. Walk with us. You can, it can just be take a nature walk and appreciate all the natures. I took my dog out today and saw 2 cardinals in a tree.
You did.
Like just took my dog out in our backyard and saw 2 cardinals fly up in a tree. Like I'm like, well, there's Silas and there's my grandfather. Coming to visit.
Wow. Oh, I'm gonna cry my face off that day. Yep. That's official. When I see you guys, just
yeah. So we are doing Team Silas. What's a good link in case someone wants to join the virtual walk?
Head to our website, emmasfootprints.com. Go under the events tab. You'll see Memorial Walk, and then you'll see all 4 locations. So you can click on that to register. Our walk is free to attend. It's amazing that families do fundraise for us and for our mission, but we just want to encourage friends and family to come out and not have any kind of hurdles. So you don't really have an excuse.
Most certainly. What's the walk like for someone who's never been there, but is going to be there this year? Tell me what it's about.
So it's really emotional. We plan really great events and really great parties. So from like balloon arches, and backdrops, the typical event things you would see. We have merchandise. We have a chance auction. We have donuts and coffee in the morning. Ooh. And some fruit. Yep, we have food trucks. So you get there, you kind of meet up with your team. It depends. Some years it rains, some years it's cold, some years it's 80 degrees. You never know. That's always fun. You get together with your team, and then we always do a presentation. It's at Barron D Park at the Junker Center. We are at the soccer field. So we encourage everybody to sit in the bleachers, and like the bleachers are packed. It is overwhelming and powerful. And then my team is on the soccer field, and we do a little presentation. I usually say a couple words about grief. I don't know. I'll see what hits me. I pray about it. And then we kind of let everybody go and walk. And then we kind of set up on our back end. We have children's events, and then food trucks afterwards. And it's a really amazing space just to be in. You kind of just got to be there. So
we can't wait. You guarantee the Sorensons will be there. So, and we're bringing a team. We're bringing a team when we, So when you say it's going to be packed, will be a good percentage of it.
I love it. And every team, they get T-shirts. I was, talking
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah. And so to see you just look out in the crowd and you see all the different teams and their T-shirts, and man, it is just so powerful. And the babies' names, on the T-shirts. It's like, where else is this happening? That these families from all over, just all, moms and dads and grandparents and kids and diversity and socioeconomic backgrounds, we can get together and remember our babies. And it's really powerful. And we read the babies' names off on a list. So you're welcome. You'll cry. And then we always have a song that we play before you go and walk.
Ooh, does it change every year? Or is it the same song?
It does. Yep. And it always makes you cry. So, but it's good. Maybe some people aren't used to crying or used to showing emotion. So you have to. So it kind of gets it going for you. It's like, you're welcome.
Well,
Stop stuffing it down. It's got to come up.
Yes, we cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun. And how much fundraising do you typically see from this event alone?
So last year we had our 4 walks. We held a walk in California. So we had 4 physical location walks in Huntington Beach, California. We went out there and we raised over $100,000 between our 4 walks. So that's, yeah, it's huge. It's obviously super necessary. You just heard already this year we've spent over $165,000 in our mission expenses. So the fundraising is a huge part, helps us fund our mission and say yes to the families that call.
Mm-hmm. And if anybody's watching this episode right now, they can certainly give even without the walk, correct?
Yep, on our website, emmasfootprints.com. People send checks to our office. A lot of time in memory of babies, like on their birthdays or when they pass. A lot of families will hold family fundraisers for us throughout the year. So that's a really cool way to give back. We just had a family hold a softball tournament. They, mom and dad love to play softball. So they took what they love and they turned it into a fundraiser for their little girl. So it's cool to see what families are into and make it unique in their own to honor their baby, and then ultimately support our mission to continue to help families.
Mm-hmm. Well, expect support from Buddycast. That's all I can say for now. Expect support from Buddycast.
We'll take it.
Mm-hmm. And tell me some other ways that you've really seen like the fruits of your work during this year. From your fundraisers to just to the glory stories. Tell us some other ways you've seen the impact of what you do.
So I just want to talk about my team for a minute.
Absolutely.
My team is just phenomenal, and we would not be where we are without them. And most of our team are lost moms and dads that have a loss that the organization has helped, and then they come into the organization in a different way, whether it's a volunteer or four of my employees are lost moms that we've helped. And so to meet them in their loss, and then to watch them take steps in their healing, and then to watch them come into the organization in a different role and become, a volunteer or employee, it does something to your healing in a different kind of way where you can like give back to families. So that I love that. And I feel like I don't talk about that enough. The volunteers and my staff that show up is a different, unique aspect of healing and what we do. I feel like there are just so many stories of, I don't even look for lost families. They just come and find me. And it's just really cool to be somebody that is safe and they can share their stories in just the most awesome, random, odd places. I feel like I should write a book.
Hey, you should. You absolutely should. You just your journey alone,
Yeah. And so, one of our board members lives on Long Island. We met him and his wife had a SIDS loss, met them. We could talk about how I met them all day long, but had never officially met them in person. They just held a golf fundraiser this past weekend, actually Monday, in Long Island. And so we drove out there, and my husband and my two oldest sons and my brother golfed in the golf outing. And I went and finally officially met Brooks's mom and dad. And I'm like, I'm traveling to Long Island, New York, to meet these strangers that I have never met in person, but the dad is on my board for this organization because we both have, lost our babies. And now he's holding golf fundraisers, helping us with our mission and counseling expenses. And now they were friends before, but when you meet somebody in person after having that relationship, I have the coolest job. Like, where else do you get to do this and travel the country and meet these lost families and just become instant buddies? It's just really cool.
Being real with you, I think support group was the first time you, me, and Jess met in person. You and me met virtually. We've chatted online, all that stuff. But I think that was the first time we met in person. And both Jess and I drove away from that meeting and said the same thing. I feel like we've known her for a lot longer than than just meeting her for the first time today.
Yeah, it's really absurd when you think about it. Outside of the grief world, it's like you're just meeting strangers. You're like, but they're strangers, and you don't know anything about them. Like, you lost a baby. That's all I need to know.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So when it comes to the future of Emma's footprints, what are your hopes and dreams? What do you hope this mission turns into?
Hmm, that's a great question. It kind of terrifies me a little bit. I I just want to achieve our vision of living in a world where no one walks through grief alone. And however we can play a part in that, I know I feel like there's other organizations popping up around the country, like moms and dads that kind of looked around, kind of like I did, and said, "Hey, there's no support where I'm from, where I live, and I'm going to change that and do something about that." So I've been seeing these organizations pop up and offer support groups and create a community. And so I love to collaborate with them. Right, that this is a very, very big job, and not one organization can do this by themselves. And so just collaborating with other organizations and being a piece to fulfill that vision where really, truly nobody walks through grief alone. So just continuing to march towards that, however that looks like. We're expanding into Pittsburgh. We have been for a while. We're talking about holding a in-person support group there. Our couples retreats we've done 5 couples retreats, and that has been just such a game changer. We give these couples a weekend with our counselor, Pam Pressler, who wrote this curriculum,
Ooh.
focusing on communication with your spouse. And so 25 couples have gone through our couples retreats. We keep them small and intimate, like 5 couples. And so they all kind of walk in there and they're a little scared and they don't know each other. Maybe you might know one other couple, and they leave the bestest of friends. They leave with tools. They leave with a renewed sense of purpose. Our last couples retreat, I know for a fact 2 of the dads, because of the retreat, started seeking counseling on their own for some other things. And so that is, man, I'm just so proud of them. And because we all have our own grief journey, and I can sit here and, Nick, I can tell you how I did it, and I can give you all the tools, and I can tell you what to do, but it's your job to do it. So
Exactly.
that's the other part of it is, we can create all this over here, but you can sit there and say, I don't need it. And I can't do anything about that. So it takes you, and you and Jess have leaned in and you're doing the things. And so I want to encourage anybody listening, for our mission, it does not matter when your loss happened. We help families. I got an email tomorrow and they said, "Hey, I lost my baby 10 years ago. Can you help me?" Yes. Here's our support group dates. Here's our counselor's, email. Because it doesn't matter when your loss was. And if you've never walked through it and you've never kind of wrestled with your grief, you need to. So just living in that world where no one walks through grief alone, and it does not matter. You can start that journey at any time.
Exactly. That's what I love about your organization. It could be, like you said, 10 years ago, and it's still fresh in your memory. Hey, I just need something to help because of, you've been going through the milestones all this long. Like you've been going through, June 10th was the due day. And here we are 10 years later on June 10th, still feeling the sting of it. You brought up some great points, like milestones that, like, I was kind of thinking about that the other day. Like my cousin just got engaged, and one of the first things I thought when I heard that was like, I would have like been popping bottles of champagne and, been like running through the house for sparklers when the day I heard Silas was gonna, pop the question or something like that, when he found his special someone, no matter who it was.
Yeah, I think that's something I didn't learn till years after Emma died, was that I lost a whole lifetime with her. And so, I have 3 boys at home. And so watching them experience life, and then so it's kind of bittersweet, watching them, like my oldest just graduated high school this past spring. And so being in that, at Edinburgh University, watching him graduate, also thinking, Emma's not going to get to graduate. She should be a junior next year in high school. And so I don't get to do that with her. So it's just, but it's learning that's going to happen. Those things are going to pop up. So you can't stop that, but you can learn tools to help you when that grief does pop up, because it's unpredictable and it happens at random times. And so, I don't know how did you handle that when you heard that your cousin got it?
It was, I'm not going to lie, it was a little tough for us. We were supported because we're always, the supportive people. Like I'm always, I'm there for anyone who needs a shoulder to cry on. I'm there for anyone, whether you have good news, bad news, I'm always the one. Yeah, shoot me a message. Let's talk, but honestly, Jess and I went home and we had a moment, I went to our bedroom and just laid down for a minute. I know Jess, kind of, scrolled on her phone or just did her own thing but then we came together and just talked about it. And I'm like, I really wish, and no offense to my cousin or anything like that, I just really wish someone could have at least tipped us off that, hey, there may be some new, because then I would have taken Jess and gone like, let's go do something, like let's go grab some dessert real quick. Or let's go, can you come with me to the car? I think I left something in the, some excuse or something like that.
Right.
Just something, because it was hard, because it was, I think she did that in June, and, April to June was like, it's not like it was like, oh, a year later or something, hey, because then we would have been, hey, great for you, still, but it was just.
Yeah, maybe not. Like grief is so weird. It's kind of nonsensical when those moments pop up, or you might think, hey, I'm okay. I'm doing great. And then, whoa, what just happened? I just feel like I got hit with a truck.
Yeah. And like I said, they announced their engagement, and then they immediately they announced the wedding date because they were already engaged. And then she said, oh, by the way, and then she dropped that news on us. And I'm like, okay, like I said, it would have been really nice if someone had, like my aunt or someone had just pulled me to the side and said, hey, something like that. But we're, like I said, we're the supportive people, where I did send her a text afterwards and said, I'm extremely happy for you guys. I know this baby's going to be loved. I know you guys are going to be awesome parents. And she immediately wrote back to me and said, I was so worried about how you guys would take it. So this means a lot to me right now. Like this means the world, that I know that you guys are happy for us.
Yeah. Yeah. And man, that's just like one situation in life or after a loss that will happen over and over and over. But I'm proud of you guys for checking in with yourselves, leaning in. And then what's great is if you're like struggling with something like that, you talk to Pam about that next time and say, hey, help me.
Bingo.
Yeah. So you don't have to like do that on your own.
Exactly. Like you can, or even just like I texted the advocate after that and just said, hey, what do you do like when you're in a setting? And he's kind of like, he agreed with me. It's kind of like the smile. If you've ever seen the movie Madagascar, just smile and wave, boys. Just smile and wave. You kind of got to, paint the smile on your face, smile and wave. And we want, when on the inside.
Yep. You can go text your advocate and be like, man, that was really hard. That sucked.
Yeah.
And you have that space to have that outlet of emotions instead of just continually smiling and waving when you're like dying on the inside. You can go set it down with your friends.
Exactly. So the one thing, we've kind of touched on this the entire episode, the importance of community, the importance of outreach. I want to hear for you how important it is, to have buddies in life that you've made through this organization, that from your team to the, millions of parents that you've helped. How important are these buddies in your life?
I'm going to be kind of bold and just say it's life or death. So for me, Emma died 17 years ago. And like I said, I didn't have a lost community around me. So for 5 to 6 years after she died, I can't recall her birthdays. I don't recall a lot about that time in my life. I had 2 more children after her. But when I think about those 5 to 6 years, it's really dark for me. Just because I didn't even know I was grieving. So I'm like, imagine that. But I'm like, nobody told me that I was grieving. That seems so silly. But I didn't have that community. And so, her birthdays, holidays, my pregnancies afterwards, people ask me, were you anxious? How did you handle that? I'm like, I don't remember. You're going to have to ask the people around me. And so starting the organization gave me that community, gave me the community I desperately needed and wanted. And I had to combat lies like, well, Tracy, it's been five years. Like, who cares about Emma? Like, these were things happening in my head. Life has moved on. It's 5 years is a long time. And so starting the organization, being able to like say her name and go out in public and start to kind of raise money, and I'm like, oh my gosh, no, people do care. Like, Emma is important, even though it's been a minute and people didn't really know who I was, but I had to combat that lie. So this organization and this community is what I desperately needed. And so I think I have this interesting, unique story of living in a space where that wasn't a reality, and how sad I was and how hard it was. And I just remember thinking, like, this is my life. I don't want this. I didn't sign up for this. How do I live? And when the organization started, when I got to create this community and have my team and meet people and talk about Emma, is when my healing journey began. And so for me, it's life and death. I was not living. I was just surviving, and it wasn't pretty. But life is so much more. And so, God wants us to thrive. But when you go through a tragedy and a trauma like that, and you don't have that community, I was stuck. I guess I'll just talk for myself. I was stuck. And so time does not help this. When somebody's like, oh, time, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to disagree with that, because it had been years for me and I was stuck and I wasn't okay. And so it was when it's like, oh, I'm grieving. Oh, these are tools. Oh my gosh, there's people I can just sit with and cry. Oh, it doesn't matter. I don't have people looking at me saying, well, Tracy, it's been 8 years, or, oh, Tracy, you have 3 boys at home. Like, aren't you over this yet? Which I hear people saying to other lost couples. I'm like, no, that's not great. But I have that community around me to like kind of go back and be like, hey, here's what somebody said to me, that how do you feel, can we chat about this? So
they should write a book, What Not to Say to Lost Parents.
And it's, I know it comes from like a place where either they're really uncomfortable, because babies dying is a really uncomfortable topic and they don't know how to handle it. Or they're trying to make you feel better. So because I worked through my grief, I can hold space for somebody that is just not educated or says things and puts their foot in their mouth. They're not intending to do that. That's what's happening. But when we can like teach them, hey, can you say this instead? Or, hey, yes, I do have 3 boys at home, but I still would love my little girl here. Just because I have 3 other living children doesn't mean I don't miss her terribly and I want her here. Exactly. And then when you say that, they're like, oh yeah, I didn't mean that.
Like something clicks in their head, like, I shouldn't do something, like, and I get there's different stages of that. Like, the other day I was out at a community event, for my job covering something, and someone had, oh, by the way, congratulations. I thought they were talking about the new house. As you can see, we're kind of doing a little renovating here. And I'm like, oh, thank you. And they're like, you must be excited. Like, when's the date? I'm like, oh, we're already moved in. Oh no, I'm talking about when's the date. And and then it clicked with me, and I'm like, you didn't hear the news. And I kind of just looked at him and kind of like hung my head and just did the, and he like immediately got the message, went, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And I had to go with the, it happened in April, where, we're doing our best, but he was immediately apologetic, like, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. Please, if you need anything, please reach out. I'm so sorry. Like something like I get there's that, when you truly don't know. But like you said, when there's other things like they know, and like, oh, well, like someone says something like it's either they're in the awkward position of what do I say now? Well, kind of like, you could probably write a book on those sayings, like, oh, better like next time or something like that. Or maybe like things like that you probably shouldn't have.
So we're like, if you don't know what to say, just say, I'm so sorry.
Bingo.
Tell me about your baby. Yeah. Like,
Sorry, and if you need anything, let me know. Because we will. We'll let you know.
Yeah. It's a whole new world. It's like a whole different language you have to learn.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. Which brings me up to my final question for you. Not my final question ever, of course. Gosh, no. But my final question for you for tonight's Buddycast, which is what we call the ultimate Buddycast buddy question. And this one's going to be really powerful. I can feel it. If there's a lost parent, whether it be, like you said, 10 years ago or just yesterday, and they find this, they somehow, by divine intervention, find this episode and watch it to this point, what is your advice to them?
I would say your baby matters. If I was sitting in front of them, I would say, tell me about your baby. Tell me about your experience. Tell me about your loss. I think that is so powerful. If that's you and nobody's ever asked you that question, please reach out and I'll ask it and I'll meet you. But if you have not had a loss, I challenge you to find somebody that has had a loss. You won't have to look very far. Sometimes people are like, I don't know anybody that's had a loss. I'm like, you do. And so, yeah. And so if you haven't had a loss, find somebody that has, and be brave and just say, hey, tell me about your baby. Like try it with Nick. Call up Nick for coffee and just sit down and be like, I don't know what you're going through, but will you tell me? Can you just help me understand what it's been like for you, and tell me about Silas?
I can tell you the whole experience, like just to give you some background right now, that week I describe as a week from hell. Jess's water broke the day before the eclipse, which for working in the news industry was like the busiest day of the year, basically, for us, because we've been preparing for this for months and months. I've written probably like a dozen stories on it, and then boom, it happened. Like that. I was because I'm the new guy at the office. I was working that Sunday, and she texted me, "Hey, something's not right. Heading to the hospital." I immediately called my supervisor and said, I have to go to the hospital. I have to go see what's going on. My supervisor's, the first thing out of my supervisor's mouth, which I'm eternally grateful for, is, what are you still doing here? Go. So then that was on that Sunday. We went home Monday, and Tracy, I didn't even get the bags in the door. And I heard from upstairs, we have to go back. Because they gave her like signs like, hey, if X, Y, and Z happen, please don't hesitate. Come on right back. I literally picked up the bags, made the U-turn, and went right back to the car.
Wow.
And they drove us down to Pittsburgh during the eclipse. They monitored her for about half a week. We went home that Wednesday. Thursday, her parents came. We came home Wednesday. When her parents came around that time too, to be here. They're from Massachusetts. Wednesday, we're all settled for the night. Everyone, her parents are staying at my parents' house. I go to use the bathroom for the last time. I flick on the light. I see something fuzzy sitting above the mirror. It's a bat. So, yeah. So I calmly close the door, go into our room, go to get the phone, get the phone to call my parents to say I need help. And I like the entire time in my head, I'm like, with the week that we are having, with all that we're going through, how am I going to explain this to my wife? Like, I'm like, I guess honesty is just the best policy here, but so I'm like, so here, I'm calling our parents. There's a bat in the bathroom, and Jess just lost it after that. She was just like, I'm done. This is enough for me. So thankfully our dads came over and took care of it. So then you think, okay, that's just the end. That's enough excitement for 1 week. Not in the Sorensen household. Sunday night, I got this really sharp pain in my side. It escalated to my stomach and my back. It was like nothing I've ever felt before. I ended up calling my mom and saying, I don't know what's going on, but I've never felt this before. And my mom even said, you don't sound like yourself. I'm coming over and taking you to the hospital. Oh, guess who had a kidney stone? And yep, to top it all off, 2 days later was when we got the biggest news of all, the cherry on top of the whole, experience. As you've just heard, our mascot Nugget. Cherry on top of everything, we got the big news, and I am still sad about this to this day. I couldn't be there for my wife on the worst day of her life, on the worst day of our life, because I had to be home because I didn't know what was going on with it. Are there going to be more stones? I'm waiting for this thing to pass, all that stuff. I couldn't be there on the worst day of her life, and it still eats me to this day that happened. So you're absolutely right. If you want to reach out to somebody to hear their story, reach out, because you never know what you're going to find. I always want to end Buddycast on a positive note. I don't want to end us like crying and everything like that. But as we've been talking, community, friendship, everything like that, this entire episode, my best friend, who I've known since kindergarten, was there for me. He would have been the best man in my wedding had he not had an obligation. He threw me a killer bachelor party. He was one of the first friends to really look past the dwarfism and say, he's my friend, nothing else. He's my friend.
Yeah.
He texted me once he found out the news, or he didn't text me. He called me after he found the news and shared some, I don't want to say it on air or anything, because I respect his privacy, but shared that he knows what I'm going through. He's like, and that meant I told him, I've known you for over 20 years. We've gone through heck and back together. And tonight you've shown me everything. Like, you've shown me why you are my best friend.
Wow.
Because to know that my best friend doesn't just understand, like, I'll be his, I'll just be a supportive friend, but understands what's going on, means the world to me right now. Like, I feel like I just fell in a dark pit, and this is the angel reaching out, picking me up, putting me on, and dusting me off,
Yep.
So,
you might fall back in there, but yeah, we'll just keep pulling you out.
Exactly. And that's what Emma's was to us too. Emma's was that angel that pulled us out, pulled me and my wife together, lifted us up, put us aside, and said, kind of like a common metaphor that I use is like, a good friend will be there walking by your side, picking you up when you fall down and everything. A best friend, a healthy organization like Emma's will be walking by your side, holding you to make sure there is no more fall.
Right. Yeah.
So thank you for all that you've done for me, for my wife, for our families, for all the families you've helped out there. You are making such an impact. You're doing God's work. You are doing it all. So I thank you. And the best way I can thank you, I was going to mention this when you brought up your team. Buddycast is going to be sending you, they're brewing it up right now. I just got word from from North Edge Coffee. Buddycast is sending you a box of Buddycast flavored coffee.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Of course, please share it with your team. Let us know what you think of it. It's a mix of chocolate and vanilla, so I hope you like those flavors.
Yes. Who doesn't?
And it goes very well with creamer. It goes very well with sugar. So, but that is my official way of saying thank you. Please look for Team Silas during Emma's walk, and please look for. I'm still in the planning stages of it, so I don't want to make any promises on air and then have to go back on my word, because I hate when I do that. But look for some other surprises in September, at least a donation or two, and some other fun things from us here at Buddycast, from the Sorensen family, and more. So
it's an honor to know you, and I'm so proud of you guys. And man, every time I see a Cardinal, I think of Silas. So he's already made an impact in my life. And thank you for sharing him with us.
Yes. For all our buddies out there, do me a favor tonight. Say a prayer, well wish, good karma, whatever you believe in. I don't care. Even if you just think of the name, say a prayer for Emma, say a prayer for Silas, keep them in memory, keep them in good thought, good karma. Like I said, Buddycast doesn't discriminate. So whatever you believe in, just as long as it's nothing bad with that, or anything like that. But just keep Emma, keep Silas in our memories. The one thing I have to end on, Tracy, because you know this, I truly believe Emma's up there taking Silas's hand and saying, let me show you around.
Yeah.
Let me walk with you.
Yeah.
So, But thank you for being a buddy on Buddycast again. It was a true honor. I'm glad we got to dive deeper into this episode and not just, you give me a quick, here's what we do, here's what we can help you, here's how you can reach us. But just get into the realism of the episode.
I hate that I know you like that.
Like we said, welcome to the club. Sorry you had to join.
Yep, exactly. So, thank you for giving me the space and the opportunity to just share more about what we do.
You are always welcome on Buddycast, no matter what.
This will help a lot of people.
I'm hoping it. If you need anything out there, buddies, if you're going through a loss, if you just have something on your mind, reach out to us. Reach out to Emma's Footprints. They do wonders. I can personally attest. I'm gonna, you know how I have to end this episode, Tracy. I got 2 requests for you. Number 1, stick around, chat for a minute.
Yep.
But number 2, I always ask this to my buddies whenever they come on the episode. Whatever you do today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, promise me, there you go. You're going to go be someone's buddy.
Yes, I am. Look at that.
Woohoo! Love it. For all my buddies out there, this is my buddy Tracy, Emma's mom. Please reach out if you need it. I'm your host, Nick Sorensen. Thank you for joining us on a very powerful episode of everybody's favorite show.
Well, the days are going fast, buddy, we've got to make them last, buddy, before they've all gone past, buddy, tune in to Buddycast. But don't be naughty, go make it, buddy, here on Buddycast.